Greetings, brethren, it's your boy, the donkey, and this is a filler video. I have recorded this probably a long time ago, I'm not entirely sure. We'll see when this hits the channel, but it's the fourth video I think I'm recording tonight, so that's why it's a bit of a filler video, because I'm a little buzzed. It's the early days where I'm losing weight, so it's very hard for me to deal with alcohol. So that's why we're talking about a trend I kind of hate. We're talking about Naturtrüb, which means naturally cloudy in English. Basically, it's unfiltered beer. So, and the one I'm using as an example is one that I have at home that has expired a little while ago, but that's fine. It's beer. I'm sure it's still good. So this is a local, and I'm not going to talk bad about this local brewery because I actually like it. This is my second favorite brewery in the area, in the larger area, I should say. In the immediate area, this is my favorite. And their Pilsner is probably one of my very favorite Pilsners. It's really good. Is it quite as good as Rothaus Tannenzäpfle? Nope, not quite as good, but it's still pretty damn good. Now this, however, is a pale lager, of course. As you can see, it says right there, Helles. But it also says Naturtrüb. And as I said, that means unfiltered. It also comes with the sort of brand specific. This particular local brand, they love to put the these sort of they don't like using the bottle caps. They like using the whatever you call those in English. It's like a mechanism to open the bottle. I shall demonstrate. There you go. It sort of flops open, and it's this sort of rubber ring thing around a ceramic stopper that sits in there, and then you have this sort of thing that arrests it, and then you click it open, and you get your beer. Now, originally those were used for bottle fermentation, and some of the beers that this brewery in Darmstadt, the Darmstädter brewery, Braustübel is just the sort of name that they've chosen. The Darmstädter brewery, they've chosen this sort of bottle fermentation as their brand. And some of their beers use that. I'm not entirely sure this particular one does. It might. I couldn't really find on the website which of their beers use bottle fermentation. If you don't know, bottle fermentation is a type of fermentation where you don't have a giant vat full of, hundreds of gallons of beer that ferments at the same time, but instead you ferment the beer a little bit, and then you put it into bottles, and then you put it, with more yeast, you put it back into the basement, and it ferments in each bottle a little bit more. And that adds a really interesting characteristic to the beer, which you don't get if you just, ferment a giant vat. It gives it a bit more of a character. And sometimes it also causes the beer to be a little bit different between tastings. So if you have, if you just get one, crate of 24 bottles of this beer, probably all going to be the same. But if you, over a certain amount of time, they might actually slightly vary, which is interesting, which is what draws me to their beer. And their Pilsner, I'm pretty sure, is bottle fermented, which just is one of the reasons why I really like their Pilsner. It's just really nice. Again, I'm not sure if this is bottle fermented. It being naturally cloudy, it might be. But let's have a look. It's a small bottle again, so we're going to use a small pint glass, a half pint glass. And as you can see, it is the Cloudy Boy. Is it actually going to fit? Should. Yeah, there we go. So, I was a bit gentle there on the pour, so there's not as much foam, but that might also be because it's a little bit past its due date. It doesn't smell bad though. So this is definitely still drinkable. As you can see, it is cloudy. Not heavily so, but a little bit. So here's the thing. I do really like this local brand's pale lager. It is good. If you remember, I don't know when I'm going to upload this, but this is the same day I did the one with the funny gnome on it. I like this local pale lager quite a bit more. But what I really want to talk about today is this fucking trend of doing cloudy beers. I don't know exactly where this trend started. I think it is somewhere in the hipster craft beer whatever movement. And the thing with it is there's nothing special about a beer not being filtered. Okay? A beer not being filtered is just a beer that's one step away from being filtered. That's really about it. Does it change the taste a lot? Not really. It minimally, but the thing is, if you're not going for a specific type of beer, for example, we talked about Weiss beers in other episodes. Weiss beer comes in the Hefeweizen variant, which is the sort of cloudy one, and then the Kristallweizen variant, the crystal wheat beer one, which is the clear version. There are significant differences between those two in terms of taste. This, compared to their regular pale lager, isn't all that different. There's small differences. You can still taste a little bit of the yeast in there. But I mean, just if you just look at it, it's not even that cloudy. It's somewhat cloudy, but it's so minimal. And I feel like that this is just one of those terrible trends, where it's some hipster at some point said, "Oh, organic beers. That means they're cloudy." It just kind of spiraled from there, because the difference is just not specific enough. Now, you may disagree. I think I have a pretty accurate and pretty specific palate. I can make out differences that other people just can't make out. I very much will tell you there is a specific and distinct difference between a Diet Coke and Coke Zero. And there's also a very specific difference between Coke and Pepsi and their various Diet and Zero versions, right? Those all taste very different to me. The difference between this and their regular pale lager isn't that big. It just feels like a marketing gag, and I kind of hate it, because the thing with beer is it is something that I really enjoy. I really enjoy beers, but I don't enjoy all of this hipster attention around it. All of those sort of, it's a citrusy IPA, and all that sort of stuff. I hate that. It cheapens the beer. Now, is there anything wrong with an IPA in general? No, not really. I think an IPA is okay. If you like it, it's not my kind of beer, but I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. It's just, it's been turned into such a hipster thing that it becomes pretentious. And I don't like pretentious things. If something is just good, that's fine. You don't need to have, you don't need to use fancy and pretentious words to sell it. Right? If something is just good, then just sell it on its merit. But I find that a lot of these sort of hipster beers, they try to sell them on gimmicks and on things that just aren't that distinct or aren't necessary. And this isn't really that close to that. I think this is still fine, and it's totally drinkable, and it's enjoyable. It tastes very close to their regular pale lager, which is a pale lager I enjoy. It's just, it's a marketing gimmick. It's to sell this to hippies. You know, people who are really into, I don't know, environmentalism and stuff like that, and organic and veganism or whatever. And it's just, does it even say, let's see, does it say vegan on the bottle at some point? It does not. I'm very surprised. See, I would have thought they would put vegan on the bottle because, I mean, it is, right? I mean, it doesn't include any fish bladder or anything like that, so it should be vegan. But, yeah, it's just one of those trends that I'm really, really, really opposed to, that I just don't like, because I don't know. I feel like they're trying to be something that or they're trying to be pretentious with it. And I just hate that. I hate pretentious beers. I hate pretentiousness when it comes to how you consume beers. I think if you have a product that's good, you don't need a gimmick. Gimmicks are stupid. And, you know, you don't... If your beer was actually good, you wouldn't need to sell it as a chocolate porter or a citrusy IPA. It has hints of juniper berry and maril. Stop, okay? If you've gone that far, that means what you have created is not as good as what's normal, okay? If you need to be that pretentious about it, what you have is trash, okay? So, Naturally Cloudy gets a 0 out of 10. But this specific beer is still fine to drink. So, I guess, so what would I give? You know what? I'm going to have this beer, the pale lager from the Darmstädter brewery, the Braustübel pale lager. I'm going to have this in a different episode. The real one, the proper one that's not stupidly cloudy. And then we'll talk about that rating. And whatever I give that, which is probably going to be a pretty decent rating, this is just going to get 0.5 less for being a stupid gimmick. But other than that, it's still pretty tasty. So as I said, this is a filler episode that will go up, I don't know, at some point when I need a filler episode. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. And please join me on another day for another beer. And hopefully I won't be quite as buzzed and talking quite as much trash. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you enjoy that. Leave a comment. Tell me about it. If you enjoy that, then, I don't know, maybe I'll only make slightly buzzed episodes in the future. Goodbye. Cheers.